Whew. All right. So, welcome everyone to the second edition of the reviewing of the documentary. Probably actually only do a couple episodes this week. Last time that was also my intention, but I ended up doing first 4 episodes. But we'll see how it goes tonight. I'll do probably at least 2 episodes. But we'll see how it goes. This is episode 5. That's where I'm starting tonight. Once again, Q&A is welcome during the episode. Subs get priority. Sub questions, I will definitely make sure that I do my best to answer them as thoroughly as possible. And I'll just be kind of pausing during the episode if something comes to mind, just extra background commentary information, stuff like that. So once I start playing this, please let me know how the audio balance is, guys. Let me know if you guys can still hear me compared to the video, if it's too quiet or too loud, either way.
I think PC Chris is going to stick with Falcon most of the way through.
I went to MLG Anaheim with actually my girlfriend at the time and her friend, two people who knew nothing about the game. But we were there, the front row of the bleachers, cheering, and it was one of the few times when Melee has really felt like a real sport.
He wants to stay away from those platforms. He needs to control the bottom middle of the stage. Ooh, excellent forward smash from Ken, and he gets the first kill.
It was accessible to those who didn't know a lot about it. You didn't need to know all the technical
I
terms,
wasn't
but it was
at
a
MLG
competition.
Anaheim.
It was a spectator sport.
Too quiet.
There we go. PC gets the next kill, but he's in trouble. He's going to have to do something magical here to keep Ken from getting the next kill.
Okay.
And that's when I really believed that Smash was going somewhere, that it was going to be big and important and mainstream, before it all crashed and burned.
So I turned the documentary volume up a little bit more. I want to be able to talk over it a little bit. I'm not going to be talking over, during key parts or whatever, because I don't want you guys to miss it necessarily, but I will be talking during it occasionally, so I want my voice to be, like, you can hear it over it, but not too loud. Better? Cool. Alright, awesome, guys. So again, I wasn't actually at MLG Anaheim, unfortunately, but oops, did not mean to scroll there.
I met them at this tournament in New Jersey. It was in this guy's house. This guy named Kip. He was just beating everyone. I'm like, who the heck is this Asian kid beating everyone like this? He was using Jigglypuff, and he would just do the same thing. He would just do back air, back air, back air, and then he would just beat everyone just like that. The funny thing is, I used to always, like, how can I say? I used to beat people, but, like, beat them kind of, like, making them feel bad.
This is episode 5.
Before him, like, I would talk crap to him, like, stop doing that stuff. And then, like, I would beat him.
Why did it crash and burn? Wife was referring to MLG
said,
dropping Melee.
PC Chris is better. I'm like, oh.
So I'll talk about that
is
more
better than me? I
when
was like,
that part comes
so I
up in the
gotta play this
documentary.
guy.
In high school, I had a group of friends that we used to skateboard. There was 2 Chris's and posed an immediate problem. I was just
PC's a really cool guy.
PC just stuck. When I made a gamer tag, I was just like, I don't want to be like.
I hung out with him a fair amount in 2006, 2007. Really chill, laid back guy.
At the same time, after school.
Very modest too, generally speaking.
4 years, like, as a hobby, and then eventually I really broke my thumb terribly badly. I fell while.
Was Kip a known player? Not really. He was fairly known, but he wasn't super well known. People just knew that PC's crew was called the Turks and that they were all pretty solid, but PC was the only one who was really well known out of them. Kip was probably the next best known, but not. He was known mostly in New York. A few people in, like, New England or MDVA might have heard of him, but he wasn't super well known by any means.
Like, downstairs, and I tried to, like, break my fall, and the thumb got tucked down behind my hand. You can see how, like, if I line up the knuckles, that one's, like, clearly shorter. It kind of, like, scared me because I never hurt myself, and, like, I was in a cast, and it was in my right hand, so I couldn't right in school for a while. I guess, like,
PC does no longer play Smash. He's doing real life stuff, as far as I know.
I remember the day that I wanted to get better. For the whole day, I was like, okay, I'm gonna
What's
beat
up,
my
Awesome
friend. Because
Time?
at the time, I just could not beat him 1 versus 1. So eventually, I was like, well, maybe there's, like, videos of really good players. Maybe we're doing something wrong. It was when Ken was first coming around. I couldn't even understand like what he was doing because it was just like his character was moving so fast. But I just didn't know how it was possible. I didn't even try to aim for him because I was like, this guy's too good. I looked for like somebody more vocal, somebody I could play with, and Wes from DA was the first person that like I really saw who was really good. Like,
Yeah, Wes
in
helped
New
train
York.
PC a lot.
Chris came once he heard about the gauntlets.
We started attending New York tournaments, New Jersey tournaments.
I'll beat him, Kip, all of his friends.
When's the last time I
Wes and
talked
all
to
the
PC?
DA
It's been a
guys
minute
definitely
for
were,
sure.
Beating us up for a while, but eventually we can climb the ranks a little more. You see yourself getting better, and like you start to understand the game more. Suddenly you're following up on these combos that a day ago they would just end, and like the game suddenly gets like 20 times better.
After a while, we just started training with each other.
Eventually me and Wes started teaming, so you know, just funny how that works.
With training from Wes, PC Chris
Behind the scenes
slowly
Smash
became
King.
one of
Wes-
the best Falcos in New York.
In 2004 to 2005, like early 2005 is when Wes started to fall off. But in 2004, 2003 and 2004, Wes was a beast for sure. He was easily a top 5 player, or maybe not necessarily top 5, but easily top 10 and arguably top 5 player from 2003 to 2004. But Wes fell off really hard. He fell off like harder than most people tend to fall off after being that close to the top. But I mean, it's not like he lost his mind games or anything. I think he just he didn't practice enough tech skill on his own to really keep Samus viable.
Selected to represent his coast during the FC3 crew battle, and took 2 stocks from Isaiah before being knocked out.
Oh yeah, this was really impressive what PC
As
did against Isaiah
2005
because
came to a close,
this was 2005. PC was still very, very like unknown. He was very under the radar for most people. He definitely wasn't one of the main killers of the East Coast. Something that isn't mentioned in this documentary is MLG Philly 2005 was, I believe, a few weeks after the FC3 crew battle, and it was one of my first chances to win a tournament because I literally had never won a singles tournament to that point, and Azin and Neo were there, but Azin was going Link and Neo was going Roy, and let's see, Wes had already fallen off by then, so he wasn't really a threat. Ken and Chu and Isaiah were in Japan at the time, I believe, so none of them showed up to this MLG Philly. And I definitely played PC Chris in the finals. Again, Azin and Neo basically screwed themselves by going low tiers the whole time. I think Neo still ended up getting third and beating Wes, which is pretty funny. But so I ended up meeting PC Chris in the finals, and Game 5 I took it over PC. So that was the very first tournament I ever won in my life. But it already showed that PC had gone from like pretty unknown player at the beginning of 2005 to suddenly a threat. And another thing I just remembered about PC is pretty funny is Team Ben. When we first met PC, Team Ben would always call him Mark Wahlberg or Marky Mark because he does look kind of like Mark Wahlberg, to be fair. So
PC shocked many
Shout out
by
to Marky
placing
Mark.
3rd in the MLG National Championships in New York, right behind Ken and Chudat. It was a sign that new blood was in the mix, and change was around the corner.
some of the Halo teams sponsored Smashers, yeah, but there wasn't
2006 opened up in New York too. So
there wasn't much that came from that. Halo teams did sponsor us, like for the MLG New York playoffs. Azin and I were technically Team Carbon, like we were Carbon Chillin and Carbon Azin, which is pretty funny because Carbon ended up sweeping that whole event. Like Karma won the Halo 2 free for all, and then Carbon won the Halo 2 4v4, and then me and Azin won teams, and Azin won singles. So it was just a Carbon clean sweep of New York playoffs 2006.
goal was to place top 3 again.
The MLG opener 2006 was such a big deal because everyone knew how big MLG was now.
I knew it was going to be bigger, so I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm going to win.
And Melee was starting to get huge. That might have been like the biggest year of Melee's growth was 06.
You know, I was winning the matches I felt I should
And
win.
caveat to that, that was the biggest year of Melee's growth until this past year, until 2013, 2014. So
And then like eventually came like the opponents that like I wasn't sure, like Chudat.
I actually told him a trick to use to get out of the chain grab as Fox, just because Chu was, you know, West Coast at that point, and I really didn't want to see Chu and Ken just split all the winnings as usual.
And I ended up
This was hilarious. I definitely went up to PC specifically when I saw that he was fighting Chu in bracket at the MLG New York opener, and I was like, dude, whenever he starts chain grabbing you with down air, just hold away and start mashing sidestep. Like, hold R and just start mashing down on your stick as hard as you can. You'll get out with sidestep every time. And I'm pretty sure because of that, PC ended up beating Chu.
beating Chu to have to fight Ken in the finals. I don't think I fought Ken up until this point, in tournament at least.
First matchup starts.
Okay, here we go.
Versus PC Chris. Ken has chosen Yoshi's Story as his first stage.
Okay, and let's take a look at who's playing here. We got PC Chris. PC Chris from New York, Port Chester, New York. That's where his name comes from. Versus Ken, who's the undisputed king of Smash. He has traveled around the world and proven no one's even come close to giving him a challenge. He's lost a few times in the past, but nothing serious. Yet PC Chris taking this set from him is huge. And if PC Chris were to win this tournament, it would mean so much for the Smash community. It would question what everybody thinks. PC Chris is a rising young star. 6 months ago, he was only semi-respected. A year ago, barely known. 2 years ago, not known at all. And here he is in the final
Someone's breathing in the mic.
Take out Ken. So excited.
M3D.
Commentary did not exist before MLG in any facet that I would deem noteworthy. But when MLG started doing commentary, it was very few people that wanted to do it. Again, unlike now, unfortunately, they just pass the mic around to anyone who's wandering by. I think that's very regrettable.
Lasers! Lasers! Wow!
If you ask me, but at MLG it was M3D and JV3X3 and me and OmniGamer. Pretty much those are the only people that did it.
Looks like PC's got Ken in trouble here.
I tried
Ken
commentating
regains
briefly
control of the bottom
at
of the
this.
stage
I
and
was
is looking to
awful at
continue to
commentary
throw
back
and
then.
combo
I
PC to get
was
that
doing
last
like a
kill.
terrible like play-by-play kind of thing.
And then, oh, that's it. The tipper. Ken takes the first match. It's a lot about control with this game. It's about who.
It was just crazy to see
when it's going your way, you can just keep it going.
someone
keep it going and get your
playing what we thought was a
I just
disadvantage
remember once I got
matchup
into grand
at the
finals,
time.
just wanting to play like really, really aggressive. So that was my strategy going in. Just like being
Falco
relentless,
versus
laser
Marth, we thought
approaching,
Marth had a
my
pretty
nair
significant
approaching,
advantage on
always keeping
Falco.
him on the defensive,
So the fact that
because from what I've seen,
PC
he was always like dictating the match,
was
and
able to
like,
go
making
even
sure the other person was
get close to
always trying
Ken was pretty
catch them
mind-blowing
around
at the
and
time.
recover and just, like,
It
get
was
away
pretty
from him.
accepted that Ken would take this tournament pretty easily since there was no Azen or Isaiah. Isaiah was sandbagging already by then.
Oh, he got passed.
Ken making an uncharacteristic mistake.
Oh, and that's going to do it. He can't get back from that. All right.
One mistake on that forward smash cost Ken that round.
PC having
My
a blast.
philosophy is like, you know, if you put pressure on anybody, they're gonna crack eventually. Like as long as it's like perfect pressure, you know.
Did PC only play Falco when he was starting out, or was he playing other characters like his Fox? No, ZX7. He played a few characters actually. As I was saying, I played PC in the finals of MLG Philly. I believe he went Falco the first 2 games, or maybe Fox the first 2 games on me, and then I went up 2-0 and he went Doc and beat me game 3, and then he went back to Fox and like bopped me game 4, and I barely won game 5 against him. So he had a random pocket Doc as well. PC was definitely not a one-trick pony. He started off already having a few different characters that were threats. I feel like he may have been Ganondorf originally. I don't know if I'm remembering that correctly, but PC dabbled with Samus for a while. I don't know if he ever seriously played Samus, but
You know, like what you're doing is harder maybe.
PC was just pulling out all kinds of new tricks that we hadn't seen before.
As long as like you apply it correctly.
What kind of
I
new
feel
tricks
like
was
you
he
can
pulling
force,
out?
like,
It was
any
just
good player do something they don't want to.
I think it was
I don't know if people get home
the combo game mainly. No one, also that laser reset, no one was really good at laser reset yet. PC used it really often. His punishes were just so much better than any Falco of the time. He capitalized on every hit to get a lot more percent, whereas most Falcos would just get like 1 or 2 hits.
Really hype. I mean, since there were so many people, like a lot of people were watching, and you know, everyone got really into it. Wes was obviously talking a lot of smack.
Ken off the ledge. He needs to get back on. Oh my God!
Oh my gosh.
I thought I was going to end right
What up,
there. Both
voices?
players are alive. PC Chris barely
with the
alive.
high
Good directional
ceiling, PC
influence.
survives that
Once
attack.
again, guys,
Both
only
players
4
on the
more
feet, they're
subs
hitting each other.
for another
Oh,
giveaway,
God.
Amiibo giveaway.
Wow.
So maybe we can do that tonight.
Did not know where that was going.
This was crazy to watch.
Like ripped me a new one.
Again, you
Oh yeah, you
hit
can
on
see me in the
combine with
background
audience.
there.
We
the
have
the
so
Green
much
Bay
room
Packers
next to the
jersey.
face and stuff. It's kind of hard to concentrate and win.
It's now 5-3, and
What
PC
up,
Chris is
Shonan
favored to
Says?
finish out the best of 11. The crowd is going absolutely out of control, and we're even wondering if it's going to affect the players' gameplay, and then some more officials might have to step in, and Ken
Looks
is
like
going
he's
to
gonna
be
get
it.
this one.
And Ken's going to take a match. It's just back and forth right here.
Alright, PC
The
just-
reason this lasted so long, by the way, is MLG had like a weird continuation sets rule, where if you played someone in winners and then played them again in losers, you would just continue the previous set. So I think they played in winners and Ken had won 3-1 or something like that, but then it became a best of 11 somehow in the finals or something like that. I don't remember the specifics, but I remember it ended up going to like the very last game.
He started noticing on certain stages his Marth just couldn't even do it. He'd switch to Fox.
Wow, and
Do I have any
Ken
amiibo myself? I actually don't. Do I still like the Packers? Of course. Packers a beast.
It's going to be a lot of comboing.
300
It
viewer
makes a
hype.
whole new ball game.
Thanks
Now
to
you're
everyone
dealing with
tuning in,
the fastest
guys.
character, and he's running around.
You know, those little hits, just keeping them away.
This stage was legal.
Wow, Joe, this is the last match.
And it's pretty crazy that Ken went Fox at this point because PC was showing such a mastery of Falco versus Marth that Ken literally felt like it was a better
Came down
option
to
for
the
him to go
last
Marth.
match too. Like the very last match of the second set.
Ken's hating every hit here.
This
because
feedback,
he's gonna
though.
get a kill soon without racking too much damage. Every time he's hit, uh-oh. And with ledge guard opportunity, is he
Got
not
him.
going to make it? Oh my god, 3 stock to 1.
When anyone wins a match against Ken, you kind of say, okay, well, this is just one match of a set of 5. It doesn't matter. And very slowly you realize that history is in the making.
He needs to be careful on the ledge, above all.
Uh-oh.
Careful on the ledge with PC.
I remember seeing this and being so
That's gonna do
hyped.
it. The finals go to PC Chris, winner of the New York City season opener, overthrowing the King of Smash. Ken.
I remember saying PC for president like 500 times.
$2,000 and a lot of glory for PC Chris. Congratulations.
I ended
That's
up winning.
husband right there, I think.
I couldn't believe it, like especially in front of like everybody, like all my New York homies had my back.
Just the fact that it was like this new like up and coming player, you know, it gave a lot of people like inspiration who were just starting.
God,
to
I
play
was
Melee.
fat.
Like, okay, this guy's still new and he just beat the best player.
An MLG guy came with like directly with like a microphone and camera, and like I was not expecting this, and he's like, "You have anything to say to your fans out there?" And I'm like thinking to myself, like, I have no fans. There's cameras going off. Like I'd like to think of it as like, you know, a little revolution in New York Smash itself. We, you know, turned a page on something old, and now we
definitely was revolutionary.
It's winning like a national versus like the best player. Like I was the first person to do that.
I would always.
It was just a sign of the times changing because for the longest time it was just Ken, Az, and Isaiah. Like those were the people that ran Smash. If you weren't one of those three, you were not winning a big tournament, like a major tournament ever. Like, but the fact that PC did it while being relatively unknown still, just like that's why this episode is called Revolution. It literally was a revolution in Smash. It was kind of crazy that that it happened so suddenly too. But PC was actually the most gradual of the three revolutionary players that came up during this time. The next two being M2K and PC and KDJ, who are going to be talked about later, obviously as well. But
Always beat Asin. When PC Chris beat me, it was just like gave the East Coast a new hope. They're like, oh, we can beat them.
The East Coast finally had their answer to Ken. The savvy new champion found
Do I still have the
instant
jersey?
fame,
Of course
not
I do.
only for his technical skills, but for being what few pro gamers had been before. Cool.
He's cool as shit. He's humble. Well, as humble as a guy that's that good at something could be.
oh, that's Taupe. He was just playing. Yeah, PC is really cool, and it's true. He was a good image for Smash. He was a
Chris
good,
was the most laid-back person I've met within the pro spectrum.
rather than
He's a
like
very funny guy too. He like cracks jokes. He like
nerdy
trash talks all
kid.
the time, like joking.
that spends all his time playing Smash in his mom's basement. PC was just like this cool guy who like played Smash for fun sometimes, but happened to be like insanely good at it.
There you go.
They just can't handle me right now. Unlike those coronas in the back, it's cold, baby. This is, you know, waiting for the party to happen. The party's already happened, my dude.
Well,
Kip is hilarious.
Might get PC Chris in trouble. So.
These are all my friends.
Damn, y'all see Kip spitting game over there? Alright, Kip. I see you. Okay, Kip. Okay.
I bust my ass all day. I'm hungover. See how good I can hide how miserable I really am to the customers.
Ken is a competitor, which I think is an important distinction among Smashers, and one that I've always preferred the competitor to the non-competitor. Your Chudads, your Ken, someone who will try to the last, which is why Chudad is one of my favorite players of all time, even though I've spent much of my life hating him. He does not give up. He can be down in a set, and he keeps playing, and he keeps playing, and he keeps playing. He doesn't give up halfway through. And
I don't really know if that's the case anymore, unfortunately.
Ken wasn't someone who just stumbled upon the skill. Ken was someone who wanted to win.
White,
But Chu was very resilient. This next to PC right here is Kaiser GL. A lot of people don't know of him, but he's a super cool guy, close friend of mine that lives in Maryland, that was also very close with PC during the MLG days.
PC, you excited? Really excited.
Ninja
really
Pikmin,
excited.
yeah, I'm doing
For those
one
who
more
don't know,
episode
Ken's
probably.
been the reigning champ at this game for a long time, and East Coast, or any player for that matter, really hasn't been able to overthrow him. And then last event at MLG New York, PC Chris beat him and won the entire tournament.
Going into Dallas, you know, I obviously felt good about where I stood because, you know, I won the previous tournaments. I did well in the time between at the locals and things, so like by my knowledge I was like, you know,
Why wife has so much screen time? Because he's really good with words.
Stage is Streamland 64.
He's
Ken struck Corneria, so PC
good
can
at
either
talking
get
about
battle
stuff.
ran or pick
Good at putting
himself,
stuff into
and,
words.
PC Chris struck Fountain of Dreams. Obviously a little bit worried about his short hop lasering there on that stage with the low platforms.
I knew Ken was practicing. I just didn't know like what he was gonna do.
Oh yeah, this was crazy when he started pulling out the counter.
Strategy, because his strengths are when he's
was so
dictating
crazy.
the match, and when he's like avoiding.
Like I hated Ken at this time, but I couldn't help but respect the fact that he adapted so well.
I think I could still beat him.
Now PC, the Falco's gonna try to get.
Look at all these counter. He just starts like literally mashing counter, and it works like a charm because PC was relentlessly going in.
Which is that move where he puts his sword up. You just saw it again, and basically just takes
Really impressive.
his attack and shoots it back. Despite how cool it might sound, it's generally considered mostly a useless move. But for Ken to use it repeatedly on one of the best players in the country and 3-stock him it's impressive.
No one would use the Marth counter. That's like a forbidden move that you use Marth. But I used it against PC Chris, so every single time he would laser me, I'd counter and he'd jump in and get hit.
He, you know, discovered that if I'm just mindlessly approaching him all the time, he can just, you know, try to bait it and counter my approach with Marth's counter.
Ken has been known to reinvent the way to use new tactics and new techniques with Marth, so it looks like he's doing it again against PC.
The fact that Ken invented Marth, look at him go with that counter. I can't believe
So much counter, and it works so well. It was really crazy.
Like, I could see what's happening,
What up, Noble?
happening to me, but telling yourself to avoid it and like telling your hands not to, it's one thing.
So you can't counter unless you know you're going to get it off, but wow, but Ken obviously showing us that he knows when he can get it off. He says, don't worry guys, I know.
It was brilliant to see, even though I prefer PC Chris as
No.
a person and a teammate. I enjoy seeing Ken, the viciousness come out, and he did, and reigned him as superior.
That's it. Ken
That's
win
it
for
for
Ken.
Ken works his way back. Hopefully
PC is no longer in the Smash community, really.
He outplayed me, he beat me, like, you know, exposed me. It was, you know, definitely a downfall after winning New York. Suddenly, like, wow, was it just a fluke? Like, can I really hang with the top players, or am I just going to be that guy who's placing below them?
I think PC might still work
I
here.
had to make a decision whether
Possibly.
if I would just want to keep working and just do the normal life thing, you know, work, school, or if I wanted to try, you know, test this Smash thing out for Ron. And you know, I was at the age I was like, why not?
I was
flying around everywhere, you know, winning money, experiencing new places, new food, building new relationships with people.
She didn't even look like a smasher, you know. She looked good, I'm not gonna lie, but you see guys like flocking, I'm like, relax. You know, let her breathe, you know?
Yeah,
there's hey, I play Smash.
A lot of thirsty
of course,
people.
The general reaction
when Milk Tea first came on the scene.
Plays Smash?
Always hard to break the ice. It's just so awkward. What can you possibly say to this stranger that's gonna make him feel like this guy's definitely not trying to hit on me right now?
I think most of their relationship developed online, though.
Attract guys even more that she's good at the game.
I somehow got introduced to her. I don't really remember how. Like friends of a friend, like, oh, PC's Milk Tea.
I was just like amazed at Falco and watching him, and I asked him for a photo.
We were at that age where we had enough similarities to date, and like we're both attending these tournaments. Like, why not?
Anyway,
we
guys,
definitely fought over.
I kind of want some more Honey Jack.
He gets always mad at me because I always would
go
hit
ahead and do
him
that
during teams. But we were actually, I thought we were a pretty legitimate team.
We teamed at so many tournaments while we were dating, and we got
PC,
so
like,
close to winning, but we come up short. The day we break up, we go to a tournament and we win. It's like, that's how you know. We're still friends to this day.
Buddies.
You know, she was going into college and stuff like that.
PC had to carry Milk Tea pretty hard, to be fair.
So, you know, I was just playing Melee.
Ooh. Damn, this shit is so good. Okay.
Everyone was like, oh, Ken just figured out this stuff, and like now he's gonna beat PC Chris every time. So like everybody knew about it, so I needed to figure out, you know, something to do about that. Trying to adjust mid-match, that seemed to be my weakness. Like if there were certain players that just knew my style more. Like I had trouble against Azen too, and I feel like he's one of those players that just knows how I play. I knew I couldn't be completely like defensive and just like try to avoid the counter, because like I said, he'll be playing his matchup then, like he'll be, you know, forcing me to make bad decisions. So I just, it's like the term
First step
I like
is
to use
admitting you have a
called, like, hot
problem.
cold. Sometimes
Not
we
really, I
don't
just have
do anything,
liquor,
see what he
so I'm
does,
gonna drink it.
But at the same time,
'cause I feel
sometimes
like
I
it.
would just approach him. So like I was just trying to mix things up, just so he couldn't always just be throwing out counter, and if he did, he'd get punished for it, and at least start to think about doing it. That's what I was trying to do going into Anaheim.
MLG Anaheim came out the third.
Shonan says, try turning the
great show
quality down.
I think PC Chris is going to stick with Falco most of the way through. You'll probably see lots of traditional like spacing and stage selections though.
I was there as a spectator of front row of the bleachers, and there's cameras and there's lights and a stage, and absolutely the energy was there.
Local tournaments, you're used to playing at like a comic book store, like sandwiched in between some guy that's 300 pounds and some other guy, and you're like sweaty and you're just doing anything you can just to stay on the TV and play matches. And then 2 years later, I'm suddenly on a stage.
The bottom middle of the stage.
This
excellent forward smash from
this Smash being on the main stage at MLG only happened at MLG Anaheim, unfortunately. And I'm not sure exactly why, like scheduling conflicts or something like that, but man, I was upset that I missed it. I wasn't even at MLG Anaheim, so the fact that I didn't get to see the one time Smash got to be on the main stage at MLG was pretty disappointing.
Good read by PC Chris though. PC Chris is playing beautifully right now.
So, as I said, I wasn't here, but I was on the phone with Kaiser, who was there, and he was telling me that PC was embarrassing Ken for the first set of Grand Finals. He dominated him. So. Yeah, I like the song. I really like the way Samox did the stylized matches too, where he'll just kind of show the highlights of the match as it goes on, like big combos or punishes or whatever, and then shows who wins the match. So you're not seeing the whole match, but you're seeing like just a quick summary of the match basically. Samox did a really good job with that.
We hear some of the production crew here. They're getting a chance to really watch.
So this is probably around when Kaiser was on the phone with me, telling me that PC was embarrassing Ken.
Realizing just how fast Smash players do things on their controllers.
Was I mad when Chu left us for 10? Absolutely. It made no sense. Like,
takes a
how
lot
can
of
you just
skill to
claim
play this
West
game
Coast
from
when you
all
live
of
in
you guys are
Virginia?
watching it right now.
Oh man, that right there was probably the turning point, honestly. You can see that PC probably would have won that match if he didn't kill himself right there, low percent. That fucking suicide changed everything. But yeah, this set was super intense for sure. So, well, I guess I'll wait for
Came
this
so
to finish.
close, down to the wire.
The last game, last match, last stock.
The West Coast crowd is going nuts. They're chanting Cali, Cali, Cali. Ken is their hero right now. They need
Look
to
how
get
careful
this victory
PC
for
was
the West
there.
Coast.
This is sort of a revenge match from back in New York where the East Coast crowd kind of tore Ken up.
PC playing really smart.
Look how much damage he just takes from the cars.
Juggling PC for a lot of percentage there. This is exactly what Ken wants.
And this way.
Oh, wow.
The more things
That was really good how he followed up, though. Great tech, though. Oh my god, he could have jumped out there and spiked him, and that would have been game. Poor PC.
That's gonna do it. That's gonna do it.
Look at PC's hair. He was sweating so hard. So yeah, Ken did end up taking it. I think PC had there can be an argument made that PC deserved to take that because arguably he outplayed Ken, but he killed himself like pretty frequently and didn't take opportunities like he should have. But obviously it was impressive that Ken won again. What I was gonna say is that sort of a backstory here that isn't really discussed as much in the documentary is Azen had been on a hiatus since the end of MLG the previous year. The previous MLG season, 2005, Azen had just been on a hiatus, like pretty much quit Smash again. And he came back to his first like actual like comeback tournament on the same day as MLG Anaheim, but it was with me in Georgia. It was this tournament called Smash Aid. We met a very young DeShizwiz who was a lot different back then. He was super humble, like so impressed with how good we were, but we were already impressed with his tech skill. He just had like no mind games to speak of, but his tech skill was already ridiculous. But the funny thing is, Azen went all Link at that tournament and still almost won. He ended up getting third because Dreffin barely beat him, and I'll still never forget Game 3, Dreffin's Sheik versus Azen's Link at Smash Aid. Dreffin jumps out for a forward air as Azen's recovering, and Azen puts out his down air with Link, and Dreffin's forward air beat Azen's Link down air, and I was just like, what the hell? And that like determined it. But Azen got third with all Link at his comeback tournament, which is pretty funny. And then
like all the butterflies in my stomach like, went out.
They hold it on their shoulders. And even though PC lost, it was still a great tournament experience.
Huge like.
After that, Azen decided he was ready to start competing again for real.
I didn't really care whether Ken or PC Chris won.
Where was Link on Azen's fight listing? Oh, really high. ZX7, the Azen Challenge ladder, because it was made in 2002. I think Link was top 5.
That's the direction I wanted to go. I always wanted more from Melee. I didn't want.
Yeah, Super Lupa. Back in 2002, 2003, Azen made a little like basically list of his characters from worst to best, from Pichu to. The best at the time is hilarious to think about now was Ganondorf. Ganondorf was number 1. Number 2 was Fox, and then the rest of it looked pretty similar to the current tier list. Like Sheik was up there. Link was pretty high though, because Azen's Link was really good back then. But
as it was, I wanted to explode into something different. I wanted it to be like poker or NASCAR.
Why did Azen go on a hiatus? I'm not sure.
A little bigger.
Even though like I didn't walk home with the win or the money,
Azen does that
and like people
frequently.
were still saying, "Oh, Ken's better than PC." Like
I don't know.
knew inside
Remember the
that,
specific reason for
but,
this
like,
particular hiatus.
I went there and I did what I wanted to do.
Man, Samox did such a great job with some of the out of game stuff in this. Just
one tournament that's less known that I went to was the one in Hawaii. I went to Honolulu, got picked up by some smashers who just were excited to play me, and were like very excited that I was coming to Hawaii. But like,
our third-party GameCube controller is good.
Like,
no.
Thank you. Like, of course, like I'm gonna do that.
When was Wave Shining discovered? It was discovered way before this, so I don't know why PC didn't do it. Do I think Asm will come back and seriously compete in the future? I think so. ZX7. It's just a question of when.
How to get up, and like at the time I was like, why am I doing this? But like at the end of the day, it was so fun, and like being able to at least stand up for a couple seconds was like totally worth like 10 hours in the water.
Shout out to PC, super cool guy, very down to earth, very.
I win the tournament, so I'm like paying for my trip, and it was just
approachable,
honestly, the best time
very friendly.
of my life, probably. Like I really enjoyed myself.
What episode did I start with?
I mean,
I started with episode 1. Do you mean tonight? Tonight I started with this one because I did the first 4 episodes a couple weeks ago.
All kind. Hopefully, I can go back someday.
Yeah, I did pick Pikmin.
Just like being on the beach, you know, got the beers, got some food. Got some music, got some friends. It really doesn't get much better than that.
And the big reason for that, in my opinion, that Ken and PC never faced off again in tournament finals is because Asm came back. Just changed the whole face of the MLG season.
He understood the game like decently well, but you would never have guessed he was going to be one of the best players in the world at that point.
I landed one hit and got wrecked.
You have to factor in the money.
I was all kind of shaken up in my head. I didn't know what was going on.
Arguably the best player in the world at that time, and you're down 3-1 and about to lose a set.
It felt like it was a push to the end of the wall in the house.
We have
next episode is fun.
Epitome of MLG.
Like, I'm doing one more hipster grandpa.
This is my dream.
KDJ's violin play is really impressive. Or viola or whatever.
Good. No laughing so far.
What's my least favorite episode? Probably the Mango one, because it doesn't portray him in the best light, in my opinion.
We're gonna have to talk about the double DDD theory.
Oh yeah, this double DDD thing is pretty funny.
My friend has this.
Can I archive this? Yeah, it's automatically archived. I'll try to put it on YouTube as well.
There's King DDD, he's floating in the background. He swore he's seen 2 at once, at the same time, like one in one corner and one in another. And ever since he's told me, like whenever I play Talon Friendlies, like I'll be on the prowl for that double DDD. Like I'll be Falcon, and I'll have him in this like favorable position, but like I can't see enough of the screen, so I'll run to the other side just so like I can get the full view of the screen. He says this needs to be on the documentary. I swear he's taking a picture of it, and I told him if he finds it, then we'll have something to talk about in the community. Until then, it's just a theory. It's just a theory. The double DDD theory.